Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we'll be doing a Game Week 16 team review as well as revealing our mid-season report card and grade. However, before we do, please remember to hit the like button, smash that subscribe button. We'll really appreciate it as we are trying to grow this channel going forward and it will help the YouTube algorithm. Also feel free to follow us on Twitter at FPL_A+ and join our FPL mini league. So how did the team do in Game Week 16? Starting at the back in goal, Nick Pope was as solid as always with another clean sheet and 5 points. In defence, Crystal Palace failed to keep a clean sheet and Anderson came home with 2 points. Kieran Trippier carried on his magnificent season with another clean sheet and 7 points. Perisic disappointed again with a solitary point. Mo Salah failed to score or get an assist and blanked for a 2-point score. Wilfred Zaha carried on his trolling for many FPL managers with a penalty miss and blanked for a 0-point score. Gabriel Martinelli was involved with an assist and another good 6-point score. Phil Foden carried on his recent run of great performances when he has started with another goal and 9-point score. Erling Haaland blanked for a change for a 1-point score and 2 points as our captain. Dominic Solanke scored an assist and returned a 5-point score. Harry Kane, he was the star of our FPL team with a goal and an assist for an 11-point score. Total, our team managed 50-point score, which seems quite low. However, keep in mind that the FPL average was only 43. This was enough to secure the narrowest of green arrows as we moved up to an overall rank of 18,233, which out of over 10 million players is actually quite a good ranking at this stage of the season, and we are very happy with how we have progressed so far. Our first FPL player quiz. This is a mid-season player quiz. The question is as follows. Besides Erling Haaland, who is the only other player to be the top scoring FPL player of the week twice this season so far? We will reveal the answer a bit later. The FPLA Super League standings after Game Week 16 are as follows. In first place, you've got yours truly. Second place, we have joint Mohammed Usman together with Jamie Duncan. In fourth place, we've got Mebni Mohammed Amir. In fifth place, we've got Dennis Kuswanda. Sixth place joint, we've got Shazad Ahmed and Sanusi Atatunji. Eighth place joint, we've got Pedro Acevedo and Mohammed Umar. And rounding up the top 10, in 10th place, we've got Arnav Garg. Well done to everybody that has made it into the FPLA Plus top 10s for the Super League. Those that have not yet made it at this stage, please keep on pushing and trying, and your turn will arrive soon. This is a summary of the highs and lows of our FPL season so far. Game Week 3 was the lowest point that we were tracking at 2.7 million with the lowest score of 48 points. However, thereafter what followed was an unbelievable run where we managed 7 green arrows in a row, with the pinnacle of it being in green the Game Week 9, where we had a rank improvement from 283,000 to 53,000 after a whopping 106-point score in Game Week 9. Thereafter, we gradually improved, had the odd red arrow, but nothing major. And on top, as you can see, our best rank has been in Game Week 16, where we ended off at 18,233. At the start of the season, if you had to give me that as an option, if I had to choose a rank, I would definitely have taken it. I wouldn't have expected that rank, so very chuffed. This has gone much better than expected, and we are still on course to improve and beat our rank from last season. However, there's lots of game weeks, lots of drama and excitement that will follow, so So please stay tuned for more green arrow strategies. So finally, we need to rate our report card. So based on this, how would you rate our report card? Just keep in mind that this is not based on the ranking, but it's more based on where you expect to be versus where your current ranking is as a personal achievement. So our rank grade for the mid-season report card is as follows. We would score this as an A+. 50,000 overall rank would have most likely given us around an A ranking, and we have far exceeded that, and at this stage we are still looking good for a brilliant season to improve on last season's overall best. The answer to the player quiz from earlier was Martin Odegaard from Arsenal, and he scored his player of the season or the player of the game week awards in game week 3 and game week 16, and he's the only player to do it twice in this season so far besides Erling Haaland. And on the topic of players of the week, game week 1 to 16, thus far the players of the week were in game week 1 Shaw, game week 2 Jesus, game week 3 Odegaard, game week 4 Firmino, game week 5 Haaland, game week 6 Rashford, game week 7 was cancelled, game week 8 was Son, game week 9 was Haaland, game week 10 Cancelo, game week 11 Mount, game week 12 Alisson, game week 13 Zuma, game week 14 Nelson, game week 15 Tavernier, and game week 16 Odegaard. How much of these players of the week did you have in your team at the time? On to key wins and learnings, what has worked and what hasn't worked. This is a brief summary. Point 1, identify prior learnings or wins, fix errors early. If you've made any errors, move on, admit that you've made an error, otherwise it will cost you in the long run. And also trying to avoid team bias. So far this season I have not owned one Manchester United player within reason. However, that does not mean that I will not be owning any further Man United players for the rest of the season, but let's see how they perform going forward. Point 2, analyzing best fixtures and form teams players. Typical example would be Arsenal's run of form, as well as Leicester and the new kids on the block, Newcastle, who've been unbelievable this season. Point 3, reassessing playing style and strategy. What I've done this season different to last season was hit by COVID and lots of double game weeks. I had lots of hits that paid off. I took about 160 points worth of hits and still ended in around the top 5,000. However, this season my strategy is quite different, trying to avoid early transfers, rather waiting for early team news and trying to avoid hits so that I can try to maximize my rank game, as there hasn't really been any double game weeks thus far. Point 4, plan to put yourself in a position to get lucky. If you plan properly, you will definitely deserve the points that you have strategized for. Point number 5, set up team price point structures framework. Quite important, especially at the start of the season, and it might even be so during the reset when FPL does the restart, to make sure that you've got maneuverability between key players at price points so that you don't need to take any points hits. Point 6, keep captaincy simple. Just have the highest captain ceiling player as your captain every game week. Point 7, consider different combo players for best EV. Quite important to make sure that when you are bringing in players that you are looking at a combination of players, not just one player in isolation, and you are bringing him in and forfeiting the balance of your team and weakening it elsewhere. Point 8, flexible with team structure to adapt easily. Last season was a typical example where I moved from Harry Kane after seeing Son score his hat-trick. I moved very swiftly, it took a hit in actual fact, and brought in Son, and thereafter never looked back and caught lots of Son's points. This season it was moving my structure from 4 or 5 at the back to eventually 3 at the back, and making sure that I had a 3-man team, and it has definitely added value as I managed to catch the Salah points when he scored, as well as the Kane points when Kane scored, and similarly catching all the Erling Haaland goals at the same time as well. Point 9, balancing FPL content and not overthinking it. That's also quite key. There's lots of content out there that can be based on different manager styles. It's important to make sure that you balance the content and only take out what's applicable to you. Point 10, staying in touch with the template high EO players. Very important to make sure that you don't take any undue risk. The high effective ownership players are highly chosen for a reason. You can always bring in certain players that are proven. A typical example would be Harry Kane, that was not highly owned but has got a proven history, and as long as the rest of your team that you've got, you're not making any major sacrifices. Point 11, pre-match press conference news and body language. This was very key and important, possibly one of the learnings of the first part of the season. Not many managers giving a lot away, in particular Pep Guardiola. However, if you do pay attention to certain managers as well as players pre-match, you could get an idea which players are in line to actually have either a start, or whose confidence is skyrocketing, or who is struggling with confidence. Point 12, focusing before locking the team and having fun. Very important to make sure that you avoid distractions before you settle on your team and make your final transfers, and stick to all the above points that was mentioned, those key moments before the FPL deadline, before making transfers. It's quite key. And then most importantly, very important to remember that this is only a game, to learn from it, but also to have fun. Hope you enjoyed this video. That's it for this this mid-season review. All the best until the next game week. We hope you enjoy the World Cup break, and until next time, cheerio.